There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the fangirl zone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode for Van Helsing. Steve got to attend a press junket for Van Helsing. And Steve, do you want to tell everybody a little bit of what happened?
Yes. I want to say I was maybe in the first group, but don't know that for sure. They had groups of 4 press in each group. So there could be 10 of these 15-minute sections that you that you can listen to that'll all be different. So, but yeah, I was able to attend it, and we had Tricia, Helfer, and Jonathan and Nicole Munoz on this Zoom call, and it was very interesting. I was able to we were only supposed to ask one question. Well, I snuck in a second one, so.
Yay, Steve.
Just because we've known Nicole since her days on Defiance when she was just a wee lass, all of 18. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And I'm the third person asking questions, so you'll have to listen to the first 2, get their questions out of the way before you get to hear mine. So,
but plenty of information.
Yes.
To make it,
and
hopefully not many spoilers.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of spoilers. The first guy asked about the castle, so that's why we didn't release it before the first episode came out, because he did ask about the castle and how it was to act in it. So I hope you enjoy it. Yes.
Let's begin. We got about 15 minutes, a little less than that. So let's start.
Okay. Guys, talk to me about that castle. That was friggin' amazing.
Yeah, spectacular, wasn't it?
Oh, my God.
I think we might be the 37th vampire show that's shot in that castle, but for good reason.
So what was it like as actors to be playing on that stage?
I'm very lucky. I mean, there's not much acting needed to be done when you're in such an amazing castle. I mean, the stage was already set. It was very incredible to just step in there. Everything came to you.
Yeah, it was my first experience I've been on amazing sets that have been built or in modern buildings, but to be playing, 18th century Transylvania and not have to imagine, not walk through a stage door and have your air conditioning tube going and everything like that, to actually just be there, and not even in the castle themselves, but the grounds around, just instantaneously puts you into a mindset that I think it allows, at least I'm speaking for myself, it allows you to play a little bit more in the moment, because that part of your brain is not also trying to imagine your surroundings and imagine what it's going to look like once CGI is all finished with, adding on stuff as well to the set.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Paulette, you're up.
Okay, there we go. I have to stand up because my computer's, my camera's so high. There we go. I'm just curious, when we get to the end, because this is the beginning of the end, right? Are fans going to be happy with the ending? Do you know if, is this the original? Are we going to have the original vision for the finale that was Neil's vision, or did things change along the way?
I think that it was shows like to sort of pretend that they've masterminded something from the get-go and they've never altered course on the way there. But I think it was always an evolving thing. I think what should make fans happy is we were lucky enough to know it was the 5th and final season, so it gave the writers the opportunity to actually bring it to a satisfying conclusion.
And I mean, is it open-ended enough that there could be a movie?
I think everybody wants to leave. I think there's enough Easter eggs in there that they could pull that off if they wanted to, but at the same time, bring the story to, like I said, a satisfying conclusion, so you can walk away going, right, okay, there was the beginning, a middle, and an end to that story. which I love. I think the shows that are lucky enough to have that opportunity are better for it.
I wasn't around. Can't speak for Nicole. She wasn't either. But I actually never met Neil. And by the time I came into it, so I don't, Jonathan is certainly the one to answer that question in terms of from what was in the beginning into the end. But I do know that the 5th season, like Jonathan said, having the liberty of knowing it's the final season, you can place things into, and the show is its own entity, its own version of the Dracula story anyway, and the Van Helsing story anyway. So to be able to finalize it in a way that the team wanted, and be able to bring back all the mythology that was layered in the first 4 seasons of the show, without feeling like you're giving away too much, because you are coming to an end. So I think it's the most important thing is knowing it's the final season. I know every actor and team hates when the plug gets pulled and you're like, but we didn't finish the story.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this season will be satisfying for even new fans or viewers that are coming in right for like episode 1, season 5. They'll be able to follow a whole storyline and end it properly. But I think it'll be even more satisfying for those who have been around since season 1, episode 1, because we really hit, like you said, Tricia, on a lot of the points from the earlier seasons and wrap everything up very nicely.
Terrific. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
All right, Steve, you're up.
All right. My question has to do with aspects of your character. And have you pulled any aspects of previous characters into this character that you're playing now?
Actors.
Isn't that you too?
Well, okay, I'll go. I mean, the short answer to that would be no. I think there's aspects of the personal life that we were able to be brought to this character. That was the fun part of the character for me, was I hadn't really gotten to play anything quite like him before. I hadn't played anyone in the military. I hadn't played that sort of archetype before. So, but there were things that had happened in my life, even going off and sailing around an ocean and doing a bunch of stuff like that were sort of survivalist in nature. That was fun to try to bring to the character, which is it was one of the huge boons for me.
I think with any role is sort of an amalgamation, right, of so many aspects of your own personal life, your studies, what you're bringing into it, your research. With Dracula, I was kind of overwhelmed in the beginning, and I purposely didn't want to go back because it's such an iconic character. And so many amazing people have played it that I didn't want to kind of get stuck in this is what Gary Oldman did, so maybe I should do this. And it's also a female Dracula, and it's our own complete version of it. So I really didn't. And TV moves fast. By the time you get the offer, you're pretty quickly going up there and filming. So it's not like I could sit there and watch everything. But between seasons 4 and 5, I did read a really interesting book on Draculas throughout cinematic history, which was really interesting for me to read it from some of the first incarnations and how it was more creature-like and just all the different versions, which I found really interesting, more so than watching something. But I think for me, playing her was just sort of fun. I don't think I drew from necessarily. It was like a big therapy session. I got a lot out. I got a lot to release, a lot of anger. But no, I think it was this character for me was a lot of play, a lot of imagination, more so than drawing from personal experience, aside from the fact that I like biting people on a regular.
That's great. I think for Jack, it was more so pulling out parts of me that I knew were inside, like some more confidence or some inner strength that, typically in my day-to-day, I wasn't always there with it. But after, playing Jack in season 4, especially, really kind of helped me pull that out. And I've noticed much growth in myself, and I really do have Jack to thank for that. And I kind of find that my character pulled more so personality traits from the other characters around her. And I think you'll notice like there's some Violet in Jack, and there's some Ivory in Jack, and there's definitely some Axel in Jack, because, I think you'll see that a little more next season. But I think that's more what happens with Jack's personality than it being from me personally.
And how are you doing with a more leading role, Nicole? I loved you on Defiance, but it wasn't a real major role. And this one is becoming a major role. So do you feel any additional pressure?
I think with the support of, it's an ensemble cast, really. Yes, this is definitely a bigger role than Defiance, but I did Defiance when I was 18 and I'm 26 now. And since then, I've had just a lot of growth in my career and myself. And I think everything kind of led to itself and allowed me to prepare for what is season 5. So I felt very, prepared and supported by the cast and the crew. And I think we pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, Nicole had a lot of heavy lifting to do this season for sure, and I think she absolutely rose the occasion in a big way. So that was awesome.
Yes.
We really appreciate everything you guys are doing. Love the show, have been there since day one, and really appreciate and looking forward to this season.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. All right, Rick, you're up.
Tricia, I want to follow up with you a little bit. To prepare for this, I rewatched the season 4 finale and then watched the season 5 beginner. And I was struck by how different the character was in both those episodes. Could you just talk about the range this character allowed you to play?
Yeah, in season 4 finale, Dracula has, she's returned and she's trying to take over what is left of humanity, trying to enslave what is left of humanity. I didn't know much past that, right? We didn't have this season 5 episodes yet or anything. I can't really give away too much with the difference in the character in the beginning because I've been sort of sworn to secrecy by our showrunner. But you will really see, we are going to see, it's an origin story, 18th century Transylvania, the first 3 episodes. And it is the origin story of Dracula, which I think, selfishly, because it's my own character, but also I think for the show, if you're doing a final season and it's a show about the Van Helsing vampire hunters, at some point, ultimately, Dracula, the darkness is going to come in. It's a show between light and dark, right? So for me, it was very interesting, and I hope the fans will find it is, as kind of enthralling as I did playing it. Such a treat to be able to do that time period, but also really it really makes Dracula and our version of the show and our version of Dracula unique. I think that's about all I can say. That a lot happens in the first 3 episodes to explain the question, basically your question, the difference between them. But I can't really get into that too much without giving away some spoilers.
Yeah, I thought the writers did an amazing job with that, taking the license to completely reinvent the Dracula origin story to suit the show. And, in doing that, you get to see Dracula as Dracula and Dracula before they were Dracula. And, that required a huge amount of range from Tricia, which was, she did spectacularly. So, yeah, there's a big gap in the before and after, that's for sure.
I got lucky, I will say. I got lucky because my introduction to Dracula was with Jonathan directing episode 7 in season 4. And then also the Transylvania episodes was Jonathan just doing this massive directing of this basically a mini series. We shot it all as one, and we've worked together before, and I just have such trust and faith in Jonathan, his vision. And we also just had sort of a shorthand that it really helped me as an actor coming in playing the origin story and the differences in that, to just, all I'd have to do is look at Jonathan sometimes and he'd be like, this way. And I'm like, okay, got it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. That is all the time we have for this group. So press, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you guys joining and supporting the show.
Great. Thank you. Great directing, great acting too. Really good. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
How much, Tony?
Perfect. All right. So Jeanette will slowly be, and press, you guys can go ahead and just leave room. Great job, you guys.